of jy maar net bestaan. Voel jy asof die lewe sonder jou aangaan eendag, wat ek sonder twyfel weet. Jy is nie net 'n nommer nie, en jy is deel van die groter prentjie. Daar's 'n rede dat jy lewe, 'n doel vir jou bestaan. Daar's 'n plekkie in die son vir jou en my, 'n plekkie elkeen het 'n doel gekry. Al voel jy soos 'n sandkorreltjie klein wat in die grootste duin verdwyn. Jy vat my die hoogste hoog gesit, die in die adem en die ander in die wind. Ons allemaal is maar sandkorreltjies klein, maar saam is ons die mooiste dag.
Lekker in die zon for y'all and my Giselle right here on Night Owls on @Real Chris Wyatt. We're back, folks. It's been a month since we did a live stream on the channel. Welcome back. Let's make speech free again. What a concept that would be. How's the microphone coming across? It looks good on my monitoring board right here. If you can give me a thumbs up that you guys can hear me okay, because we switched over. I had to use a different profile here. John Hutchins in from Arizona. Dylan Combrick in from South Africa in the Western Cape. We've got Matt Canale here, who is one of the rugby selection extraordinaire folks out there. Paulie's in, not putting fires out at this hour. Debbie Morey is back again. Hey, Debbie. Val Cooper, Rainier Dutoy. Garrett is in from Somerset West. Vilma Erasmus, good evening to you. Fleshin in from the 15-minute city of Oxford. Garrett Gilch is here. Ron is in from Bloemfontein. Hester, Debbie, I said all right. Ashley Engelbrecht. Ashley's been a regular viewer here, really popping in the chat a lot lately. Good to see you, Ashley. And Mike is in. Good afternoon, Chris. Kudos for last night's podcast with John B. Wells. Yeah, last night's conversation with John B. Wells, I think about the 6th time I've been on the channel. They invite me in there. They usually ask me if they have a last minute cancellation, but we do schedule some of them ahead. And so I filmed this one was supposed to be, I don't know, a week or two ago, and actually forgot about the broadcast last night because it had been a few weeks. And what happened is that they had an anniversary celebration on the program, so they asked me to move to Valentine's Day, which to be honest, I kind of forgot about. Last night I had that, John B. Wells. This morning I had an interview by a newspaper, and then we had our broadcast. Tomorrow I've got a planning session with some folks related to something different. And I'm doing something in the morning. Oh, that's right, I'm doing a presentation in the morning as well about South Africa and its elections. So, yeah, keeping busy as always. Debbie says the world is big yet small. Only thing that sets us apart is a clock for time. Well, that's true. And the seasons, if you're in the different hemisphere, you're enjoying the heat of summer. We're enjoying the snow and cold air of wintertime here in the northern hemisphere. Yeah, folks, welcome back to Night Owls. We haven't done Night Owls in a while because I've just been too darn busy. So listen, I thought we'd just talk a few quick news items, but then also I want to go through photos and videos from my trip this time last year in South Africa. Debbie says the house I stay in was built in 1930. Met the original owner. Her grandfather built it, and she was born in it. Wow, that's pretty cool. Debbie, that is interesting stuff. I've lived in some really old houses, including 19th century homes before. It's pretty interesting. But wow, that is interesting to meet the owners. Now, I'm the original owner of this abode that was built by a crooked construction company. One of the brothers committed suicide when they were caught embezzling from the company, I should say. Yeah, and he offed himself, and so not a good outcome there. But the bottom line is it was a very poor construction company, and I've had a few, not major challenges, minor challenges with the house, including part of the roof coming off at one time, just the weather trimming, but that's been repaired. Yeah, and they didn't finish a lot of things here. Anyway, 23 people here, 43 said they would come based on the poll, so a bunch of people were fibbing just to make me work longer and harder, but I'm here for you all, so it's a pleasure. Hester, Emil, Garrett. Who else have I missed there? I think I've gotten everybody. Let's just get a couple of these things in pretty quickly here. So first off, 3 people have been arrested in that shooting incident in Kansas City during the celebration of the Kansas City Chiefs' victory in the Super Bowl. Shooting after Chiefs Super Bowl parade seemed to stem from dispute among several people who have no impulse control and resorted to firearms. The mass shooting that unfolded amid throngs of people at the Super Bowl celebration appeared to stem from a dispute between several people. Police Chief Stacey Graves said the 22 people injured in the shooting ranged in ages from 8 to 47, half of whom were under the age of 16. A mother of 2 was also killed. 3 people were detained, including 2 juveniles, but no charge has been filed yet. Why is that? We're working to determine the involvement of others, and it should be noted we have recovered several firearms. Incident is still a very active investigation. My goodness. Shooting outside Union Station, the train station, occurred despite the presence of more than 800 police officers who were in the building and the area, including the top nearby structures. We have parades all the time. I don't think they'll end. And certainly recognize public safety challenges and issues that are related to them. Throngs had lined the parade route before the shooting, with fans climbing trees and street poles or standing on rooftops for a better view. Players rolled through the crowd on double-decker buses as DJs and drummers heralded their arrival. Police chief said 1 million people likely attended the parade, which occurred in a city of a population of just 470,000 and a metropolitan area of about 2 million, but stressed the violence was wrought by just a handful of people. Law enforcement response was exemplary. Those in attendance also responded. I think the response of the fans was unbelievable, tackling the scumbag murdering suspects as they tried to flee like little wussies. The crowd tackled them in a brilliant tackle, which could have won the Super Bowl had that young man been on the Chiefs in this game, or actually played for the 49ers, might have stopped a play. A brilliant effort by private citizens to jump into the fray and stop these scumbags from getting away. Israeli special forces have raided the last functioning hospital in Gaza in an effort to root out the Hamas terrorists. Israeli special forces raided Nasser Hospital in Gaza, the largest functioning hospital in the enclave, after laying siege to the facility for days. The IDF said it detained a number of suspects in the raid. It said it was led by intelligence gathered in part from released hostages. Israel said it believed the bodies of dead hostages were being held inside the hospital. Hamas denied the claim, saying the group had no business in the hospital. Israeli forces shelled the hospital early Thursday, killing and injuring an undetermined number of people. According to Doctors Without Borders, since the attack, one of the colleagues remains unaccounted for. MSF staff, Médecins Sans Frontières, Doctors Without Borders, were forced to flee the hospital through a checkpoint set up by the Israeli military. So what they put there in the bottom of the story, after CNN makes them look like horrible people, is that the Israeli forces created an exit point for hospital staff, legitimate people, to get out of the carnage. But of course, that doesn't lead the headline because that would undermine their narrative. Well, we keep being chastised for our use of motor vehicles, internal combustion engines, heat, air conditioning in our homes, and for eating meat or using proper pronouns like he, she, we, they. Yes, well, we get getting chastised by that, but these developing countries are leaking methane, which is the reason why we have changes in the atmosphere and heating up. It's the massive release of methane coming from dumps that are poorly regulated in developing world. Finally, the truth is revealed. 1,200 big methane leaks from waste dumps trashing the planet. The huge leaks of the potent greenhouse gas, which is much worse than carbon dioxide, by the way, folks. Methane gas is much worse. Will doom climate targets, according to experts. It's impossible to breathe. There have been more than 1,000 huge leaks of the potent greenhouse gas methane from landfill and waste dumps since 2019 alone. Analysis of global satellite data from around the world shows the populous nations of South Asia are a hotspot for these super-emitting, polluting events, as well as Argentina and Spain, developed countries where proper waste management should prevent leaks. Landfills emit methane when organic waste such as food scraps, wood, card, paper, and garden waste decompose in the absence of oxygen. Methane, also called natural gas, traps 86% more heat in the atmosphere than carbon dioxide over 20 years, making it critical to climate change. But they've allowed these developing countries to have these events. Look at all of these leaks. Look where they're coming from, primarily in India. Look at that. Look at all those trash dumps. Only a handful of them in North America and just a few in, 100 events, but just a few down there in Buenos Aires. Look at that. Look at that carbon emitting, tracking trash dumps. The developing world is polluting the planet, yet we must pay reparations for climate change when it's the developing world that's causing the climate change. The amount of gas they're releasing in the form of methane from their poorly regulated trash heaps, their landfills, will eclipse the amount of carbon dioxide put in the atmosphere and the impact it's had for the entire industrial revolution in short order. Yet we are the carbon criminals. Once again, the scientists lied. The science was manipulated to mislead people. This is a serious concern. Methane, or as the Brits say, methane gas. It's not methane, it's methane, it's methane. Methane gas. And wait until the tundra, the taiga, starts thawing out in northern Europe and North America. When the taiga thaws out, oh my goodness. You want to talk about methane release? Woo, there's a lot of methane trapped up there. And instead of mining the methane and using can't get the word out right now, the hydrates that come out of the sea, instead of catching that's the bubble methane coming out of the ocean, instead of capturing that and burning that cleanly, we are ignoring it and allowing that to occur naturally and allowing these countries to have uncontrolled, unregulated natural gas emissions, 86 times as dangerous as carbon dioxide by the scientists themselves. Why has this issue been ignored for so long? And kudos to the leftist Guardian for actually telling the story, actually running this story, which contradicts their narrative. It is nice to see them actually do that. Listen, folks, when I first moved to Germany in 1984, I would go to Munich, and they had a landfill there. A massive landfill directly north of Munich. And as the landfill filled up, they covered it over, they recovered the soil, made a mountain out of it, and put the extraction pipes in it. And they've been getting methane gas out of there for decades and using it effectively. That is proper use. But these developing countries are polluting the planet. They're the ones who should be paying us reparations for climate change because they're doing it. China and its coal-fired power plants. That's who's responsible. Well, the Federal Bureau of Investigation is searching the homes of the fire department chiefs in New York City in a corruption scandal. Wow. New York investigators working with federal authorities also searched the chief's offices at the department headquarters as part of an inquiry into whether they have inappropriately accepted payments. FBI agents early Thursday searched the homes of two senior New York Fire Department chiefs responsible for overseeing safety inspections, while city investigators also searched the chief's offices. The corruption investigation by the Bureau of Federal Prosecutors in Manhattan and the city's Department of Investigation began late in the summer and was initially focused on whether the chiefs had been paid nearly $100,000 each in a scheme to help expedite or arrange inspections. There's no immediate indication that the searches were part of a broad federal corruption investigation focused on Mayor Eric Adams and fundraising for his 2021 campaign. This is other corruption in New York City. The FDNY's first priority is always keeping New Yorkers safe, and we expect every member of the department to act appropriately. As soon as Commissioner Kavanaugh was alerted to those allegations last year, she immediately referred them to Department of Investigations to investigate. And we're supposed to have confidence in New York's fire department after these allegations are revealed. Well, maybe we do. China will upset all the gains in carbon emission reduction from lunatics buying, well, what they think is carbon reduction products. China will upend coal emissions in 2024. Global emissions from coal-fired power typically dip at the lowest point in the year during March and April as the Northern Hemisphere goes in the spring as the use of fuel for heating drops off in the Northern Hemisphere. But this year, China's mammoth power and manufacturing systems may single-handedly reverse historical pollution trends if authorities unveil stimulus packages aimed at reviving industrial output in the spring. China's growth has stalled since 2022, and now they want to ramp up their coal-fired power plants to pollute the planet. BRICS nations are set to have the highest number of millionaires. Wow. So much for equality and communism and socialism and everybody's equal, same outcomes. Yeah, all the new millionaires will be in the BRICS countries, not in the G7. Wow, that's who's going to have most new ones. BRICS nations see the highest surge in millionaire count over the next decade rather than the G7 countries. Millionaire population in BRICS countries will see a substantial surge as they pillage and rape and take from the poor over the next decade, contributing to the largest increase in wealth across any group of nations. Millionaire count in the BRICS countries, which together hold $45 trillion in investable wealth, is forecast to rise by 85% in the next 10 years. The BRIC, which is now composed of Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and has included now Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, the United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia, set to join the bloc, will have more millionaires growth than the G7. Of course. A restrained Donald Trump appears in court today over tabloid charges and his first criminal trial. Former President Trump's lawyers, rather than the man himself, brought theatrics at his trial date set in the Stormy Daniels hush money case. Donald Trump had a fatigued look about him this morning as he entered the Manhattan courtroom. In less than 2 months, he will be the first former president to face a criminal trial in a bogus prosecution and misuse of the court system against a patriotic American. The 6-week trial will not be about Trump's efforts to overturn the election, not his hoarding of classified documents. That's not exactly objective. Accusations of which he's been indicted elsewhere. Rather, Trump's approaching trial is for alleged hush money involving adult film star Stormy Daniels and Playboy model Karen McDougal. Of course, this whole issue has been previously been settled. It was actually Trump's attorney who did this, not Trump. Trump did not direct him to do it. This is a bogus prosecution. Well, Japan was the world's second largest economy for a long time when the corrupt Chinese intellectual property thieves, copyright thieves, and industrial spy Chinese overtook them. Japan remained the third largest economy in the world for a period of time. However, its stagnating economy after 35 years of virtually no growth has now fallen behind even the sclerotic, anemic German economy, and Japan is now the world's fourth largest economy as it slides into recession once again. Germany overtakes them by default. Japan's economy has contracted unexpectedly because of weak domestic consumption, pushing the country into recession, causing it to lose its position as the world's third largest economy to Germany. Gross domestic product shrank at an annualized rate of 0.4% in the last 3 months of last year. Having contracted by an annualized 3.3% in the previous quarter, the recession is typically defined as 2 consecutive quarters of economic growth, unless you are the Biden administration. And then you redefine the economist's definition of a recession, which is 2 consecutive quarters of zero or negative growth. That is a loss. Therefore, 2 quarters means a recession. Of course, the corrupt, crooked Biden regime has redefined a recession to pretend that we never went through a recession here, as Americans suffered immensely from Biden inflation, government spending out of control, deficit spending, and the war on energy, which have crippled Americans and their pocketbooks. But we were told there was no recession because they've redefined recession. No, this here, once again, when it's convenient, they tell the truth. When it's not convenient, they hide the truth. CNN denying we were in a recession a year ago now says Japan is in a recession because they think we're stupid. Well, they're the ones who are stupid, not us. JP Morgan, Chase, and BlackRock drop out of the scam, the green energy scam. They are out of it, no longer part of it. They are dropping out of it. JP Morgan says in-house sustainability efforts are sufficient to fight global warming. JP Morgan Chase and institutional investors BlackRock and State Street Global Advisors announced today they are quitting, or in the case of BlackRock, substantially scaling back involvement in a massive United Nations climate scam alliance formed to combat global warming through corporate sustainability agreements. In a statement, the New York-based JP Morgan, under the direction of Jamie Dimon, explained that it would exit the so-called Climate Action 100 Plus investor group because of the expansion of its in-house sustainability team and establishment of its climate risk framework in recent years. BlackRock and State Street, which both manage trillions of dollars in assets, said the alliance's climate initiatives had gone too far, expressing concern about potential legal issues as well. At least BlackRock and State Street are honest. JP Morgan lies to people. JP Morgan is not saving enough energy and reducing enough of its carbon output to justify this dropping of this program. They never should have been involved with it. All the executives responsible for signing up for this 100 plus garbage scam, which has defrauded investors and cost them dividends and cost them valuation in their stock and has harmed customers who pay higher fees to live through the unicorn fantasies and rainbow nonsense of Zerzem ZZs of these idiots at these banks. These executives should be sacked. They should lose their jobs for signing up for this lunacy, which has cost people in the business world grievously. Time to get rid of them. Well, Donald Trump will face that other trial in March as court officials interfere with the 2024 choosing event, already disrupting and interfering with it in the middle of the primary season in an effort to get Trump. Remember the movie Get Shorty? Well, it's all about getting Trump. A March 25th trial date has been set in Donald Trump's hush money case. That's the one I was talking about earlier. There is no hush money. It was paid by his scumbag lawyer, not Donald Trump. And his scumbag lawyer went to prison for it. Why is Donald Trump being prosecuted for it 6 years later? That's an interesting question. Caitlin Clark, the phenomena from the University of Iowa Hawkeyes, is set to break the all-time NCAA women's scoring record in collegiate basketball. Yep. And that is, she's on the verge of doing it. She needs 8 points to top two-time WNBA champion Kelsey Plum's NCAA record of 3,527 points, which she set in 2017 at Washington. 8 points is what we're looking for at this record, and obviously she's going to blast it out of the water. It's going to be fun. So Caitlin Clark will own this record, the Iowa standout senior who came back for her senior year at college. Trouble at U.S. Space Force, which confuses me because I'm not really sure how it's a problem at U.S. Space Force. This is something the National Reconnaissance Office does, yet they're saying Space Force is one having trouble. I'm puzzled. U.S. Space Force, a standalone branch of U.S. military charged with securing U.S. interests from, and to space, has canceled a multi-billion-dollar program to develop a classified military communications satellite. Usually the National Reconnaissance Office does that. That's a bit bizarre. Look at how they changed their ranks. They actually put this little satellite thing in there, the Star Trek thing, on the rank insignia. That's interesting. Never seen that before. Termination of the Northrop Grumman program is made because of increased cost, difficulties developing its payload, and a schedule delay, citing regulatory filing and people familiar with the decision. Well, that's typical under the Biden regime, another failure in government. Take your pick. There are plenty of failures in this regime every single day. Right, let's get to the chat and say hello to folks, and then I'm going to show you some of the photos and video from my trip to South Africa last year. So, John, Matt, Paulie, Myra, Debbie, Val, Fleshin, Ron, Hester, Ashley, Emil, Mike, Garrett. Who else we got there? Limited funds have been targeted for resource recovery and methane. Yeah, well, they used to burn this stuff off, which is ridiculous, especially in the oil fields of Nigeria. Oh my, what a way to tarnish the legacy of the prestigious FDNY. Exactly, Paulie. What a way to tarnish it. Elma 5 Pence says something plummeted to Earth tonight, and I wonder if it was purple-green lightning. The steam. It's just probably a piece of space rock. A new hat. The hat isn't red, and the phrase is different but truth. Let's see just how much crap you hear for it. No, this isn't a new hat. I have had this for a few years. I haven't worn it in a while. So, yep. All right. Yeah, it looks like upside down turds. It says scared for the sake. Repercussions should be shown as exploratory example. Do you believe there are barriers to free speech, Chris, or do you believe in total free speech? There's no such thing as total free speech. Total free speech. Number one, if you slander someone, that's not free speech. Defamation of character is not your privilege or your prerogative. Also, you cannot use speech to endanger others. For instance, sitting in a theater, a crowded theater where people are at, and you start shouting fire and people panic, people could be injured and harmed. That is not free speech. That's a criminal act. However, if I want to say Joe Biden is a donkey, I can say that. I can say that. If I want to say Joe Biden is a failure, I can say that. If I want to say that a certain jab does or doesn't work, I can say that. That's my prerogative. You don't have to listen to me. I haven't attacked any individual. And there's no such thing as disinformation unless it comes from the state. Only the state has disinformation. Other people simply lie and mislead. So do I believe in total free speech? I do believe in free speech. And the point here is we see our government violating the First Amendment of the Constitution. Congress shall make no law limiting the exercise of free speech. First Amendment to the Constitution in the Bill of Rights, ratified in 1791. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press. That means that you can say what you want. However, you cannot defame people. You can't use your freedom of speech to harm others. That's the bottom line. But, if you want to sing a song, Fat Bottom Girls, you make their rock and roll go round, as Queen once did, you can say that. The bees are asleep. Good to hear. Ross thinks, or R1 thinks he agrees. Well, R1, I'm glad you think you agree. I'm pretty sure you do agree. Yeah, no, there should be no limits to speech. When you tell people they can't say the word begins with K and ends with an R, it's a Arabic word which means unbeliever because that's a horrible slur. You have silenced free speech. When people use that word, we find it to be offensive and insulting, and we simply ignore those people. Putting them in prison as criminals is ludicrous. Meanwhile, rapists, child molesters, murderers, and extortionists go free and walk around the streets of South Africa, and you're putting people in jail. Well, I mean, look what's happened to the Gerbils Darfur. The Gerbils Darfur have been locked up. Willem Petzer now sitting in prison. He committed no violent offense. He's not a threat to public safety. But because he's white and because he speaks Afrikaans, the state chose to seek no bail, and a corrupt court system gave them no bail. Yep. No bail. Not even bail. I mean, that's outrageous. It's absolutely outrageous. Zandile Gumeda walks the streets. Ace Magashule walks the streets. Zweli Mkhize walks the streets. Cyril Ramaphosa walks the streets, all accused of committing far more heinous crimes than disturbing the public or your elbow nudge a police officer. Julius Malema physically assaulted a police officer in a racial incident, and he walks the streets free. A member of parliament who should be setting an example for society. No. There's nonsense there. All right. What's the veteran? The veteran hat. That was the one I had on earlier. Yep. Yes, that's why I think South is a bad place. Well, it shows you how weak and cowardly those in authority are if they're so afraid of words. Calling somebody, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's a phrase we learned growing up. But words can hurt, but that thinks it doesn't make them criminal. I mean, I've these jerk-offs who called me a white supremacist and a fat shamer. What kind of nonsense is that? I mean, it's absolute nonsense. But they got away with it because they live in the Netherlands and South Africa, and I didn't pursue a legal case against them. But those are criminal acts on their part. Those were slander, and since they were published online, they're actually liable. And they are liable for being sued for their actions, calling me that. Notice I say all the time that people like Malema are race hustlers. Never called him a racist. I don't know if he's truly a racist. I think he's just a political opportunist. I'm not even convinced that Julius Malema is actually a racist. He is a race hustler, however. That's a person who uses race to inflame divisions amongst others. The person who uses race to mislead you. That's a race hustler. That I can defend. In LA, you can't use the word with an R unless the car is electric. Huh? Only the truth hurts people. People don't like it. Yeah, well, people don't like the truth. All right, let's get to last year's trip. I'm going to bring it up here. And let's see. Let's start with this one here, okay? All right, so this is the bird that brought me over last year. Delta Airlines. Cost me a fortune for this thing. There we go. Delta Airlines. All right? So let's zoom up a little bit. That was the flight. There's another step. It's a video. Okay, South Africa. What's the Hilijang? It's Chris Wyatt Africa. Well, for once, my legs aren't jammed up into my spine. Cost me some miles, but I got a better seat. I can actually stretch my legs out. So already on the flight in Atlanta and off to OR Tambo here shortly. See you all on that side. So that was as I got started there on the trip. I didn't realize that was actually a video. Okay, let's go to the next one here. So here's the plane out there in Atlanta that I was in once I got on board. So I got ready to back away from the terminal. Taking off from Atlanta for South Africa. A lot of stuff jangling around there. We could get in the air any time now. Finally, off the ground. And that was leaving Atlanta in January of last year, folks. You see me zip ahead here, a couple pictures. This one's kind of cool shot here from the wing. You can see the shot from the wing. That's kind of cool. A little fuzzy there. Wasn't the best image. You can see the lights. There you go. That's a good one right there. That's a good one. See all the lights. Look at all that electricity, man. Ooh, South Africans would kill for that kind of electricity. Look at that. That flight was 14 and a half hours. That's a good one. That's a better one there. There's less reflection there. Look at the city lights reflecting off of the Delta wing on the plane. That is so cool. Yeah. Oops. Who's this? There you go. Heading out. See, I'm always taking images and videos everywhere I go. On approach, coming in. Obviously, conversations going on while I was flying.
Just took the tickets and left, and the other two stayed. And one was airlifted when they were airlifting Americans and airlifted in Germany. The other took off, went east. The last we heard, she was dancing in a bar in Tokyo. Wow. And then whatever happened to her.
Danelle.
It's a big deal, I know. We take it for granted.
And have arrived at OR Tambo. That's an Airbus A380 there, folks.
urged to immediately report any suspicious activity to the police or security services. This is just another way that Airports Company South Africa ensures excellence and security in your air travel experience.
This is just another way that Airports Company South Africa ensures that your baggage is missing on your arrival. This was pretty cool. This was at OR Tambo last year. Check out the Rhino made out of lights. They put this stupid, cones around it so nobody can get near it, which is a shame. It ruined the photos. That's the rental car I had for that period.
Oh yeah, KC and the Sunshine Band. I'll get the lyrics wrong, but why not? Everybody wants you.
Whoops, somebody got a little carried away on his arrival there. Somebody got a little bit carried away right there.
Everybody needs your love. I just want to make you mine, oh mine. Oh yeah. Na 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 na. Baby, give it up, baby, give it up. Na 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 na. Baby, give it up.
Oh, that was fun. Yeah. Well, after a long trip and it's nice to get and hop in the car and that music comes on, you get all jazzed up. Yeah. Hopefully, we won't get a copyright claim for me singing. Yeah. Baby, oops, I did it twice there. All right, now we get away from that. This is on my drive down south. Wild man in the car, that's right. I love Casey and the Sunshine Band, man. This is all taken from the motor vehicle here. There you go. There's a view heading down south towards Durban, towards Pietermaritzburg. Clearly slept on the flights or energized a full life. Springbok style. There you go. I don't remember sleeping on the flight. I just remember being pretty jazzed up.
Van die ontbijttafel af aanstaan, want dan gaan je laat. Die schip is groot. En die tijd van die vertoning is voor en die andere is achter. So jij moet stappen en het vat jou 20 minuten. Dus en dan...
Some people may recognize where this is.
Driving along in South Africa, here's something new I hadn't really thought about, experiencing yet another exciting event, courtesy of the piss poor electric system. Radio stations just disappear. I had an Afrikaans station disappear earlier. Now I've had a Basotho station just disappear. They go off the air because there's no electricity. Just boom. No generators backing up apparently because they're probably all worn out. So that's 2 radio stations just disappeared. No signal.
That was Harrismith. That's correct. Well done. Good job recognizing. And yes, there was a hill. This is at the rest stop there at Harrismith when you go around the curve. These weaver birds and their nest up there. It was a pretty cool shot. Get a little good shot there. As you can see their nest that they built, pretty tightly woven. Oh, look at that. I got a mug and bean. Got myself a blueberry or chocolate muffin. I can't remember which it was. I like this because you can see the highway in my glasses.
Well, here we go. Van Renen Pass. Always interesting watching the trucks pile up, moving about 5 kilometers per hour, clogging the road on the opposite side coming up the pass, headed down the pass from the High Veld into KwaZulu-Natal.
This isn't easy to do. I had to put something on the dash to film this. You can't exactly hold the phone when you're driving. And here I'm overtaking. So Slippery Pickerel did some work at that engine station at Harris Smith rest stop. This is going through Van Renen Pass right here, folks. Look very familiar to people in just a moment. Yeah, that's where the truck was looted. Yep. Such a beautiful country destroyed by criminals. This road's in pretty good shape here, but it won't be forever with all these heavy trucks on it. Coming up, it's a disaster. You see all the trucks coming up. This day was actually pretty good. Yeah, the speed limit is ridiculously slow. That's true. How did Helen Zilla destroy this road in KwaZulu-Natal? She's never been in governance there. It's not the Western Cape, it's KwaZulu-Natal. It's a pretty good long clip, huh? Such an amazing country, wasted on criminals. See all the trucks? Look at that. That's just a small number. Usually there's a lot more than that. Yep, 80 kilometers per hour. It's tough to do 80 on this too. Yeah, this is Van Riene's Pass right here. Going through it. Look at all those trucks clogging up the roads. I didn't realize this video was that long. It's been like 3 minutes at least. Yeah, lots of speed cameras. There you go. So that was 3 minutes and 1 second. Yeah, it was a 3-minute video. Yeah, I didn't realize it was that long. Wow. Okay. So what's next? Here's another one. Went to boarding school in KZN, but lived in Joburg. Okay. Stayed on the right at the Triangle Hotels. Forgot the name. Ah, Debbie. Okay. Thanks for sharing that. And it's so easy to get tricked here because you're going slowly, but you have to downshift and hopefully have a standard transmission because your gravity will pull you down faster down this hill and you get a speeding ticket. Lots of light cameras, but I'm aware of it and I stayed out of trouble there. Look at that. Look at those lights flashing in the back of that. That's pretty wild. That's very distracting. Never seen that before. It's still 80 here too. It's very annoying. Eventually it'll get a little bit lower. It picks up. This is in January of 2023. All right, there you go. So what's next? All right, here's some pictures now, not just video. Coming down through the pass. There's 100 finally. And this is Spienkop Dam. I was trying to get to the battlefield, but I couldn't find the access road. It was very annoying. I did find this gate, though, that blocks access to the dam. And then Spienkop is up there, but I couldn't find an access road to get up there. Very frustrating. Let me skip about that part there. Go ahead a little bit. All right, let's see. We'll start here. This is at Blood River. Okay. All right, let's get this back up. So now we're Blood River here, folks. Yeah, the weather was pretty cool, but it was hot as blazes. I got sunburnt badly. There you go. December 16th, 1838. Look at how this is maintained by a private foundation while government-run things collapse. Blood River, founded 1838. There's actually Blood River and Comey River. It was hot that day. No, I don't use a drone because I don't have a license. I don't mess with South African rules. this river was so red that with blood that it was red, hence the term Blood River. Now, the trucks will destroy your roads in South Africa. There's just too many trucks. This is where they met in battle. Reconciliation Bridge. South Africa's first non-racial, non-sexist, and democratic government. It's exactly racial and it's sexist. And it's authoritarian, autocratic, not democratic. Was tasked with responsibility of promoting reconciliation, nation building, and social cohesion. This is intended to heal the divisions of the past and establish a society based on democratic values. Except that every time you turn around, all they do is whine about apartheid and accuse white people of being evil. That's not reconciliation. That's not healing anything. There's the Nkombe Museum, the Zulu Museum. Broad daylight on a work day, not a single person was here. The place was abandoned. Completely abandoned. Completely abandoned. No one was there. All right, now I've come back across the river. Okay, that's not what I'm looking for. Hang on a second. That got all messed up there. What I was looking for. There's what I want right there. Okay, now we're back. All righty. So, there we go. Hello, folks. This is Chris in KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa at the site of a momentous battle that took place here on the 16th of December, 1838. As the Voortrekkers, a group of the descendants of the original European settlers in the Western Cape, the Dutch, the French Huguenots, and the Germans who came later, along with some others, migrated up away from what was then the Cape Colony into the Orange Free State, over the Drakensberg Mountains, down here into KwaZulu-Natal, where they ran into conflict with the Zulu who happened to occupy this area. After a number of events that took place, which takes a little getting into, we're not going to cover that here right now, King Dingane had sent his troops out to meet a Voortrekker army that had assembled here. They came here in the Nkombe River, subsequently known as Blood River, as a consequence of this battle. 464 Trek Boers fought at least 16,000 Zulu. Both sides entered this battle well aware of what was at stake and what was going on. The Trek Boers, believing that they were the vanguard of Christianity and representatives of God, made a pact, a covenant with God, that if he would give them a great victory against the Zulu in retribution for what had happened to Pete Retief and others, and at Veenen, if he would give them a great victory, they would take a vow and they would build a church in his honor, and they would celebrate that day as a day of Thanksgiving each and every year. So they took this vow, and building up to the date of the battle. And on the 16th of December, the Zulu met here at Nkombe River, which became known as Blood River, as 464 Boers formed a lager with a circle of wagons, which you can see in the distance there. That's a life-size replica of the actual oxen-driven wagons that the Trek Boer were using. They circled their wagons, the cattle inside, and they put defensive positions all around, and they fought off the Zulu and won an epic battle here. As many as 10,000 Zulu may have perished here. Numbers are unclear. So many Zulu died that they fell into the river, and it was known as the Blood River because there was so much blood there from the casualties. This site is not a political site. I don't know how people want to view it that way, but a site where both Zulu and Afrikaners can look back and reflect on their history. And in fact, there's a bridge of reconciliation behind the camera, just down here from the Zulu Museum on that side of the river to the monument that's set up over here by the National Party or private individuals later on. So there you go, folks. 16th December, 1838, an epic battle in the history of South Africa, one which many people seem to have forgotten about or choose not to pay much attention to these days. But it was a crucible in the forming of the Afrikaner identity and also a key event in the history of the Zulu Empire. Thanks for watching, folks. Did I never air that? I thought I posted that. Maybe I didn't. I make so many videos that I often forget that I do them. So, yeah, I guess I didn't post that. So, maybe I will do it then. Okay. Yeah. Platforms are not the same. What's that? What are you talking about, Myra? What did Myra say? Blue Spanner. Oh, that's because we're on the old channel. There aren't many moderators on here. Chris Wyatt, did you want to be a moderator on here? You're a moderator on my other channel. I can make you a moderator here if you want to be a moderator. Yeah, it's not a different platform. It's a different channel. This is at Real Chris Wyatt. It's my original channel. So you may notice that this is the channel that had 23,000 subscribers and was censored and shut down by YouTube. Chris Wonderful. No, you never had a spanner on here, Chris, to my knowledge. Hello again, folks. This is Chris. I'm here in KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa at the site of a momentous battle that took place on the 16th of December, 1838, known subsequently as the Battle of Blood River, in which 464 truck Boers formed a laager of wagons to defend themselves against a Zulu army of at least 16,000. In that battle, the truck Boers came out well on top. As many as 8,000 to 10,000 Zulu perished in this, and many of them falling into the Nkombe River, which is located about 250 meters to that direction. And as a consequence, so much blood was in the river, it became known as Blood River. It was an epic battle. It played a key role in the identity formation of the Afrikaner nation, and also was a signal event for the Zulu Empire as well. You see the sign behind me here, but if I shift over a little bit this way, you can see off in the distance here, replicas, life-size replicas of the oxen-driven wagon that the truck Boers came over the Drakensberg Mountain into this region with, and they came into competition with the Zulu. Those wagons were formed in a circle as defensive position with the livestock in the center and the defenders along the wheels of each of those wagons fighting off the Zulu. It was an incredible event. As a consequence of that battle, the truck Boers made a covenant, a pact with God, in which they said if God would deliver them from the Zulu with a great victory over the Zulu, they would celebrate that day as a day of Thanksgiving, and that's became Geloftedag, became known as a day of Thanksgiving each and every year on the 16th of December. It's now Reconciliation Day, as recognized by the South African government. That date, they also promised that they would build a church in God's honor. Eventually, a couple years later, that church was built in Pietermaritzburg. And the interesting thing about that church for me is that Daniel Lindley, an American missionary who was practicing here in KwaZulu-Natal at that time frame, he was a graduate of Ohio University, as am I. There is a bust of Daniel Lindley sitting in the Church of the Vow in Pietermaritzburg. I've seen it. It's pretty incredible at the museum there. Anyway, folks, that's a little bit on the Battle of Blood River. Thanks a lot. Yes, it's the Day of the Vow. The Day of the Vow. It's for Thanksgiving. I didn't say it was Thanksgiving Day. It's a day of thanks. They're giving thanks. The Day of the Vow. You are correct. Gelofte is a vow. Yeah. Yeah. The covenant is what it is. I think people are inferring incorrectly what I said there. So I should probably put a disclaimer on that if I actually use that video. But yeah, so yeah, we're on a different channel. We're on the same platform, but a different channel. So let me get this one up now. This is a short one. You get a better view of the bronze life-size wagons that the truck Boers had. It's not the exact spot where they were at. They were a little closer to the river than this, but this is where the site was built. They actually have replicas of the little cannons that they used as well, which caused great carnage in the Zulu ranks. This is a life-size replica of what was there. Bronze. It costs a lot of money to make this. Maintaining it's not so easy either. Not the best defensible ground, but you can see that they held their own there. Yes, the ANC changed the reconciliation. That's correct. It's the Day of the Vow, Geloftedag, and the Covenant, which is the book that I read about South Africa by James Michener, first got me interested in it. Debbie's never been there. Thanks for the footage. Now you can say you've seen it. Yep. Let me get some more pictures going here. Here it is, the vow. Okay. Yeah. So these pictures aren't, they're the original, so they're sideways, so apologies for that. But here you have in English, the vow. My brothers and fellow countrymen, we stand here now for a moment before a holy God of heaven and earth to make a promise to him. If he would give us his protection and be with us and give us our enemy into our hands so that we may defeat them, we shall pass the day and date each year as an anniversary and a day of thanksgiving in his honor, like a Sabbath. And that's the reason I said Thanksgiving. People will no doubt sharpshoot me, particularly people who think they know more about South African history than me. When I post a video, oh, he said Thanksgiving. He's just some dumb American. It's not Thanksgiving. Well, the actual Gelofte promise the vowel included the word thanksgiving, to give thanks to God for saving them. So yeah, so here it is in Afrikaans. Meine broeders en moeder angenoten. Hier staan we, can't read that, tans op. Anyway, so that's an Afrikaans there. So yeah, so those are sitting there. And then this cairn indicates the center of the lager. That's where I was standing. This rock is in the center of the lager. Hier die klapstapel die op de middelpunt van de leer tijdens de slag van Bloed Rivier aan. Dit is op, I don't know how you say 16 in Afrikaans, December. Yep. Anyway, there you go. So that's, there you go. Woo! See, I was already got a sunburn. Look at my face already turning red. And there's a close-up image of it, a replica of those. And there's the cannon. 3-pounder naval gun. Pretty small inside. That's all the space they had. Beautiful skies. It was a gorgeous day. Absolutely gorgeous day in KZN this day. Yes, that's why they're such small cannon. They drug them through the Drakensberg. So you guys are telling me I didn't publish these videos. I must have forgotten. Yeah, I get so busy. I have so much footage. Yeah, so that one you really can't hear anything. I wonder why the sound is off on that one. Let me see. What's this? What's this? Oh, bees, yeah. Okay, let me jump ahead a little bit here. And now I'm going to go to, this is now going to be Rorke's Drift. So let me get to that. Jump ahead to Rorke's Drift. Okay, you ready for that? This is not all that far away with a car. Rorke's Drift. Who's that handsome fellow? Rorke's Drift, January 22nd, 1879. Anglo-Boer War. Private Thorn. 6 dragoons. Drowned in the Buffalo River by the upsetting of the punt. There's the hill above Rorke's Drift where the Zulu went up there and shot at them. Private Sullivan. The grave of James Rourke, for whom Rorke's Drift is named after he cleared some of the difficult spots along the Buffalo River to create Rorke's Drift for an easier crossing into Natal. No, I've not seen battle, of course, occurred that new song in the Anglo-Zulu War. On what was his farm. Served as first lieutenant at Buffalo Border Guard. That stone was erected by his comrades. Yeah, you'd have to pay a fortune to watch Netflix with this. Gravesite of James Rourke, after whom Rorke's Drift is named after he cleared some of the debris down at the Buffalo River for an easier crossing into Natal. This is where he lies in eternity. Quite a view from what was his farm. And of course became a famous battle site, looking here out over the terrain midway up the hillside. James Rourke, who served as a first lieutenant in the Buffalo Border Guard, founded Rorke's Drift. This is a monument that was built after my first visit. Many years later, it was built to the Zulu warriors who perished there. It's kind of a cool monument. Look at all the shields laying there with a cheetah on top. And you'll notice that as much as supposedly people hate European traditions, they've put poppies down, a tradition that came long after these Zulu died at this battle. Bronze memorial sculpted by Peter Hall was commissioned in 2005. My first visit here was in 2000. It depicts a leopard, I said cheetah, I meant leopard, representing the Zulu monarch protectively covering the shields of the fallen Zulu warriors. Yep. This memorial to the Zulu who died here at the Battle of Rorke's Drift wasn't around when I last visited here 23 years ago. It's a cheetah, or excuse me, a leopard. Oh, shit. Twice I got that wrong, I keep saying. Yeah. Hey folks, this is Chris. I'm at Rorke's Drift, where a battle occurred in 1879 between the Brits and the Zulu. And this is the Zulu Memorial, which didn't exist back in 2000 when I last visited here 23 years ago. Around me, that memorial's to the Zulu dead, the founder and the farmer who settled here and cleared down by the Buffalo River. James Rourke, his grave is located up over there. I've gone and seen that recently. And then down here in front of me is where the main part of the battle took place, as Zulu who defied King Ketchewayo's orders crossed into Natal across the Buffalo River and attacked the British here at Rorke's Drift. Now that was a problem. Had the Impi commander that did that been anyone other than the half-brother of King Ketchewayo, probably would have been executed, but apparently he escaped judgment, although a lot of Zulu didn't. They died here at Rorke's Drift in a futile attempt to dislodge the small contingent of Brits that were defending the station here in KwaZulu-Natal. 1879, Rorke's Drift. Yeah, so there were about 124 British personnel, including the infirm who were in the hospital, present for the battle. As many as 4,000 Zulu attacked the station from above on the hill and from the frontal assault. The famous movie Zulu, Michael Caine's first ever major motion picture, which also had a very young Mangosuthu Buthelezi performing in that movie. If you watch that, it's a brilliant movie. It's really well done. It's very respectful, and it's really cool. It's done on location in South Africa, not at Rorke's Drift, but in South Africa. You should check it out. Zulu with Michael Caine, his first ever major motion picture. He plays a kind of a princely, sort of little prissy British officer. He's really, really well done. He plays Lieutenant Bronville Gomhead. Yeah. Bromhead Gonville, something like that. Anyway, and a real character, by the way. And then, of course, Lieutenant John Shard, a Royal Engineers, is the one who takes command there. I have covered a lot. So this wasn't four trackers. This was the Brits, this battle. So here you go. And that's the little museum there inside. Welcome to Rorke's Drift. So the weather was not good that day. I'd had nice weather, but then went to crap. And there's the Buffalo River, which he built his crossing at. That's obviously not James Rourke's crossing, but that's what we have today after ANC rule, a dirt road leading to a concrete bridge. Yeah, this road was crap. Terrible. Thought I was going to lose this car, fall apart. Just a dirt road. And there's the backside of Isan Lawana, the very recognizable mountain Isan Lawana. This is the backside. The Brits were on the other side defending it. That's a good shot right there. Lion's Head is called. I'm not mistaken. There's a museum they have there. It happened to be open. Wasn't that impressive. Let me jump ahead from this. Let me get down here a little bit further. So, where are we at here? I went too far. There we go. So let's get rid of the other one. There you go. You can see the cairns where fallen soldiers were. Piles of rocks. It's a massive area, battlefield, which the Zulu overwhelmed. 20,000 Zulu warriors overwhelmed about 1,800 British forces that were there. Virtually none escaped. For years, they misrepresented the battle, saying that the Brits were overwhelmed and that they had poor tactics. In fact, it wasn't poor tactics. It was just they were simply overwhelmed. They could only fire so many times. The Zulu had good tactics. Every time the Brits fire, they would drop to the ground and then when they were reloading, they would charge forward, and that's one reason why they're wiped out. But the last holdouts retreated up the mountainside up there and fought off the Zulu with every bit of ammunition they had, with the butts of the rifles as they broke over the heads of Zulu warriors, the blades on their knives broken, and eventually they were simply overwhelmed and slaughtered on the side of the mountain. Units from Wales. And there it is. There's the mountain right there from the side where the battle occurred. And with it over my shoulder. Now, that is the diorama for the Battle of Rorke's Drift. This is the shit that the African National Congress has allowed to happen. That was brand new when I saw it in 2000. In 2023, you can't even read it. It's completely weathered and wiped out, and all the paint is ruined. This is how shitty the ANC is. They can't even take care of monuments. This is a victory, not for the Trek Boer, not for white South Africans, but for black South Africans, part of their heritage. They could give two flying flips about their heritage, the ANC. This is what they allow to happen. This is an absolute disgrace, ladies and gentlemen. This is what happens when ANC governs South Africa. They allow even the things of heritage for black South Africans to fall in disrepair. This is a disgrace, an absolute total disgrace. But that is the ANC. Now, here's a little something. Mzansi Patriot, which we haven't seen on the channel for a long time, unless he's just not chatting, is a physician. He and his wife met me at Isan Lawana. That is actually them in the distance on the video. I didn't know it was them at the time, but I guessed it might be, and I was correct. They came over and greeted me. Of course, they recognized me because of the beard. But this is Mzansi Patriot and his wife walking around the battlefield. He's a Zulu doctor who treats the ill in the area, in a local village nearby. This is pretty incredible stuff. Yeah, I've never been to Spinkoop either. I've just seen it from a distance. I couldn't get there. The British did win the Battle of Rorke's Drift, but they lost Isan Lawana. And the terrain was undulating, uneven, so it gave the Zulu an advantage. As they advanced, they could drop down, and the Brits couldn't see them in this terrain. So they could dip, and they could run, drop, and dip. The Brits would fire over their heads. They'd take off again. Some white folks in the distance. And there's the parking lot. You can see my white car behind that van up there. Anyway, that's so that's that. And here is Mzansi Patriot and Chris Wyatt. There you go. That's at Isan Lawana. We met in person. I haven't heard from him since then. Brian says, hi from the UK. My wife is actually in South Africa at the moment. I'm sorry she's there for a funeral, Brian. Thanks for saying hello. Appreciate you being here. There's Chris Wyatt and Mzansi Patriot, who's a doctor. It's pretty cool to meet him. And more of the stones for commemorating the dead. These piles are where bodies were located. Lots of people died here. Lots of soldiers. Around this hill, a British force under the immediate command of Lieutenant Colonel Dunford and Brevet Lieutenant Colonel Pauline was annihilated by a Zulu impi of between 20 and 25,000 under the command of Nsikweo wa Mahole Koza. 52 officers, 806 non-commissioned officers and men, and also 471 native troops and non-combatants lost their lives. This led directly to the heroic defense of Rorke's Drift, which lies 10 miles to the west. Yep. Look how poorly it's maintained. Actually, Jonathan, the Brits split their column into 3 columns. He went out searching for the enemy, divided his force into 3 columns. That was a major problem, and left this logistics force behind, basically a regiment plus all the logistics. And Big mistake. Very arrogant of that commander. Very arrogant of him. So let me jump ahead here. Okay, here you go.
Won a huge battle between the Zulu and the British, who came here in the Anglo-Zulu War in 1879, trying to conquer the Zulu. King Cetshwayo sent his impi to this site after Lord Chelmsford divided his column into 3 separate columns and went looking for a fight with the Zulu. They kept the trains back here, and the Zulu came, overwhelmed them. Mass, tactics, they just outnumbered and overwhelmed them. Some fugitives tried to get away, carry the Queen's colors, but they were killed down by the river. And then after that, the Battle of Rorschach took place. Yep, Isandlwana, 1879, Anglo-Zulu War.
Yep. Whoops.
Behind me is the Isandlwana Hill, right back up there. This is the site of a huge battle in the Anglo-Zulu War in 1879 between the Brits and King Cetshwayo's impis, who came here and wiped out an entire British column that was back here guarding the trains. After Lord Chelmsford foolishly divided his column into 3 different sections and went looking for the Zulu, trying to pick a fight with them. Well, he got a fight. He got it right here at Isandlwana, and they got wiped out, totally wiped out by the Zulu. And quite an epic struggle that took place here at Isandlwana.
Nah, the Zulu never recorded any history. They didn't write their language at that time. And there's, hang on a second here. Jump ahead. Oh, this is Golden Gate Park. Or no, this is not Golden Gate Park. This is near the Royal Drakensberg National Park. Yeah, so they didn't record their history. There were oral histories recorded at the end of the 19th century and early 20th century, but not much history up to Matrix. But you are way more informative. Well, Debbie, I make history interesting. That's why I don't understand why people don't appreciate it. I mean, I've had bad history lectures too. It does make it more interesting when you relate it to people. Boy, that sun is really being a pain in the butt right now. Coming in here. So, yeah. Brian says, I worked in South Africa many years ago and have a local girl a lift. We fell in love. We've been married now for over 30 years. Okay, Brian. All right. That's interesting. Congratulations. 30 years. Wow. Yeah, that is interesting. So let me jump ahead here a little bit. So this is up near Royal and Talon National Park. On that mountain. Beautiful. This is actually beautiful countryside here. Yep. Hear the birds. The weather got good again. This is some days later. On my way back up. The beauty that is South Africa. Wasted on the ANC and their thieves. No, the ANC has no pride. The natural beauty of the landscape of South Africa. No, I think the question Chris Swanepoel was, did the Zulu record their history at the time? And they did not. Recording it now as a historian is
Hello,
one
folks.
thing.
Welcome back to Chris Wyatt Reports. This is Chris in the Drakensberg Mountains in KwaZulu-Natal province of South Africa. As you can see behind me, the vistas are absolutely stunning here. This is the AHA Alpine Health Resort. I've been here before, but not stayed overnight. I was here for horseback riding a long time ago when I came through the area. Stayed at another property, which has since been closed, probably because of the lockdown, I'd be my guess. But this is just absolutely stunning beauty here. You can't top this majestic natural beauty. It's just absolutely amazing, amazing, amazing what you see here. And this is right at the foot of the mountains. The Royal Natal National Park with the world-famous amphitheater is located about 4 or 5 miles to the southwest of here. So this is not right at the park, and the closest hotel to the park has gone out of business. So this is probably about as close as you can get one of these resorts or hotels around here. But there you go, the Royal Natal National Park close by.
That's a good video. I like that one. This was early morning. Yeah, I guess I didn't load any of these.
Hello, folks. Good evening from the Drakensberg Mountains in KwaZulu-Natal province of South Africa, where news arrives from yesterday that following an African National Congress Lekgotla, a leadership conference, they have decided to seek a national state of disaster. What, you might ask for? Well, when last we saw this scam use of the Constitution against the citizens of South Africa weaponized to criminalize lawful behavior during the scam political activity related to a spicy hack, the African National Congress illegitimately, and I would argue unconstitutionally, continually extended the national state of disaster for the spicy cough for 2 years. For 2 years. Destroying the lives of citizens, shutting down businesses, and making South Africa an intolerable place to live, to say the very least. Well, now, the African National Congress, from this leadership Lekgotla, wants to declare a national state of disaster over the electricity crisis. Now, I'm not making this up, folks. This isn't a joke. This isn't a sick joke.
Remember that? Idiots. It didn't work. They didn't get away with it. Why is this not? Is that the last one? Let's see. Yep, that's the last one. So that's January. Let me get to February now. Here we go. Okay. Get into February. So, yeah, we're into February now. How are we doing? We got any likes? We got 38 likes and 26 people here. So this is the next morning. Let me get to that now. This is still at the resort there. Boy, Jonathan does not like Helen Zilla. Yep, there you go, right in the center of the place. It's starting to show its age, too. It hasn't been maintained very well. It used to be much more attractive. They're kind of letting it fall apart, which is sad. It's not nasty yet, but it's not what it was. Look how green that grass is. That's not an altered photo. The sky is so blue, the grass is so green. Stunning stuff. And there's the stables they have with horses. You go horseback riding. It's up in the Free State now. Oh no, this is still in the Drakensberg, excuse me, in KZN. Gorgeous photographs. Stunning mountains. And there's how people live after 30 years of ANC rule. In these little hovels. And these are the people they claim to care about. These are the people they claim to care about. Black South Africans. And this is how they live. 30 years after the ANC took over. After stealing trillions of rand in their own pockets. Enriching themselves. Only a handful of people have proper dwellings. And look at that. Tin shacks out in the middle of the field. These people will still vote ANC. Take a little break from that for a second. Those vistas are kind of looking the same after a while here. Just taking a look ahead here. Yeah, let me jump ahead a little bit here. I'm going to jump ahead to... Where's the lake at? Let's see the lake on here. Oh, that's because it comes after this. Here you go. This is where it's at. Here's a few pictures from inside the mountains as I head up towards the Free State here. People leaving now. What is that? Beautiful stuff. Road was trashed, and they were repairing it when I was there. Now we're coming up in the reservoir. You see it in the distance. There's the reservoir. It's huge. All done by the National Party. People vandalizing it. Harris Smith to the right, Clarence to the left. Guess which way I'm going? Left to Clarence. This is the entrance to Golden Gate Park, which isn't even manned anymore. No money made from it. No maintenance done on it. There's the guard post there. You just drive through. Golden Gate Highlands National Park, completely neglected by the African National Congress. This is inside the park. This is the Basutu Cultural Village, built right before the end of the National Party era. People live here. It's also a cultural site. Basutu Cultural Village, plaque unveiled by the Honorable Premier of the Orange Free State, Mr. M.P. Lakota, during the official inauguration of the Basutu Cultural Village on 21 October 1994. That was my guide.
This is our traditional wardrobe for Basotho people, where we hang our clothes. And around this time, Basotho people, they fight with different tribes. So here's our shield. Even though this shield, it looks like a base, the base that promising rain, which is a swallow. And we also have the spears that we used around that time. This one is a hunting spear with two hooks. If they stuck inside the animal, they'll cut the intestine of that animal. And this one is a fighting spear. We normally draw our spears, just like the javelins. So the short one, we adopted from the Zulu people. King Shaka believed that you must be close to your enemy. And step your enemy, bring back your spear. Losing your spears, it's obvious you're going to lose your life. But we realized that it would be difficult in the morning to carry the spears. That's why we end up having this carry boots, which is our quiver, to put our spears aside. Okay. And we also have another weapons that we use around this time. This is one of our dangerous weapons that we have. We called Kwa in Sesotho. So it's an axe. It's one of the dangerous weapons. But Sotho believe that if they hit your stomach with this, all the intestine will be lying outside. So we also have these two common weapons in our culture, which is our walking stick and our knobkerrie. So
that's a serious knobkerrie.
Weapon for us. Did you see our entrance when you enter outside there? It's a low
I
entrance.
did.
Doesn't mean that Basotho people were short. Even king of the Basotho was taller than me. The first reason is for respect, because immediately enter you're bowing forward. Second reason is for security purpose. If you are such a stranger, the owners are aware that you are coming. You'll be hiding behind the entrance, holding this weapon. They're gonna hit your head with this. You'll be lying down there. We also have our tradition.
Yeah, that. So, what was there something here? There's a question. Where's it at? Over always makes me think of the Kit Kat advert. That's not what I saw. There was something there. El My Five Pence has left the room. Thanks for being here, El My Five Pence. Yeah. So yeah, I guess I didn't upload these things. Okay, here's a couple more shots. Looks like something out of Star Wars or, a Disney or J.R. Tolkien's, in the Shire. Look at that. For the hobbits. They look like homes for hobbits, don't they?
The clothes of our girls from any age. This is our skirt for the girls. It's made from the plants. It's one of the bottle blue. So our parents knew. So that's why we have this bow mask that we made here. It's a part of fencing. Even though this one around this time, it was risky for fire, because remember fire is the biggest threat for.
Push the red button.
No, it's already pushed it
going
now.
now. Now.
Yeah, now it's good. It's okay.
I'm just hungry for more. That's why.
And the weather got good
More
again.
improved. As you can see, we start having cold stove, we start having the paraffin fridge, the cutlery is the glass and enamel.
This is
So
more
this
modern
glass anymore.
Sutu culture.
We use the concrete iron.
So that was the Basutu Cultural Village. Here's the road headed out to Clarence. Really cool scenery's coming up in a moment. That looks like a face, the side of that mountain. If you look at it carefully, it looks like an eye socket and a nose and the upper lip and a mouth. Here we go. This is the cool spot into Golden Gate. Come on. There we go. Protea Corner. Look at how long that sign has been neglected. Looks like it's been shot at with BBs. Completely wasted on the ANC. Yeah, it's the northern part of the Free State. That's correct. Look at that. You can see the water, the stains coming off there. So cool, these mountains. Sandstone. Red mountains. And that's why. There's their red. Not especially original, but accurate. Coming out of the park. All right, so let's see how my mic sounds. Why don't you give me a... Hello, folks. Welcome back to Chris Wyatt Reports. This is Chris in the Free State. What once upon a time was known as the Orange Free State, but that's history. It's now the Free State. And I'm here with the owner of a cheesery here, which I've never interviewed anybody from a cheesery. Is it the right term to call it a cheesery?
Yes, yes.
All right, so this is Donnie Crowther. Did I get it right?
Yeah,
All right.
good enough.
Good enough. That's good enough for government work, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we're here to talk about some of the impacts of the load shedding and the electrical issues that are going on and how it's affected operations here. So how long have you been in this business?
We've been making cheese for 13 years.
13 years, okay.
Yes.
All right, so you're probably pretty good at it at this stage.
Yeah, I think we know what we're doing.
Now, as I was mentioning earlier, when I go to Pick and Pay or I go to ShopRite or Checkers, I often scratch my head going, where are the good quality cheeses rather than this sort of like welfare cheese that I see there? Obviously, that's not the cheese you produce here. But are there a large number of, is it a fair term to say like a craft cheesery or a specialty cheesery?
Yes, yeah, we talk about a boutique cheese.
Boutique, okay,
But,
all right. Are there a fair number of them in the country? Or?
Yes, it's been a growing trend in the last few years. I think when we started off, there was about just between 20 and 30. I think at the moment there's more than 60.
Okay, that's a big growth.
So it's a significant growth taking place.
Well, let me ask you this question, because when it gets to agriculture, I usually ask this question, whether it's the wine industry I've talked to or the macadamia nut industry or the poultry industry. Do you have, in that growth, are there non-traditional, what I mean by that is not the sort of folks who were primarily farmers in the past, are you getting black Africans or other groups that are entering the market as well?
Yes, limited. But it is.
But some is
it's
coming.
happening. Yes.
Okay.
It is
Yeah,
happening.
did I ever
good, I
air
suppose,
this? I thought I
for
did this
diversity.
live, and then this was just a backup camera. But yeah, anyway, don't recall. So yeah, that cheeser is pretty cool. So here we go. Hey folks, welcome back to Chris Wyatt Reports. This is Chris live in Clarence, the artsy community here in the edge of the Drakensberg in the Free State. My guest today is none other than Emilio Castigliani. Help me with it. Castigliani, yes, I knew that. Castigliani. I'm sorry, that doesn't sound very Afrikaans surname to me.
No, Italian.
Figured that.
Originario di Firenze.
Oh, from Florence or from Florence?
From Florence, yes.
Beautiful place. Have you ever had a chance to go?
Yes, quite a few times.
Oh,
yes.
it's lovely. I had an office that worked for me in Livorno. So
Yes.
I frequently had to go to Livorno. Just on the way back, had to stop at Florence quite a bit.
Oh, yeah, no. The family now moved to Ancona. That's why there's the one business is called Ancona Trust. They're now more in the shipbuilding because Florence changed over the years.
It has changed quite a
Yes,
bit, yeah.
yeah.
Tourism is a big thing now, but
Yes.
the former... So that was in Clarence. And I couldn't help myself. I had to get a picture of this. I kept passing it on the motorway after I left Clarence. Getting back on the N road, the national road. These grain silos with all those adverts on it. Those are huge, by the way. They look small, but those things are bigger than a house off in the distance. And these are really cool. So, yeah. Myra's loving this program. Okay, it's stunning. Loving your videos, but my eyes are falling asleep. Well, we're going to wrap up here in just a moment. It's almost at 90 minutes, so hang in there. We'll wrap up here in just a few minutes. And then, and here's, on the way back, approaching Johannesburg coming up. You can see it there. So that's me approaching Johannesburg after all that trip down to KZN and to the Free State in Clarence. So that was January last year. So we're going to wrap up here in just a moment, folks. There you go. Now you can see that I'm not BSing you there. The N3, Johannesburg, Germiston, Pretoria, Kimberley, Bloemfontein, and Vereniging the other direction. Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, South Africa. South Africa. Yes, my mooiste land. So says Giselle. Yes, my mooiste land. Anyway, folks, an hour and a half for Night Owls. We hadn't done a Night Owls on here in quite some time. So I hope that you found it informative, entertaining, and interesting. I'm going to have to, when I get some free time, go back. Why is this screen all... going on here? There we go. I'm going to have to go back and I was having a hard time focusing with the microphone there. I'm going to have to go back and then make sure those videos aren't on there and start putting some of those videos up. You notice a difference in the air across the country? Yes, the air in Vanderbijl Park is very dirty, very toxic. The air in the Drakensberg is quite lovely. The air in much of the Free State's lovely too. Northwest, it's okay. In Gauteng, it depends on the weather. Yep. Loving you. Okay. All right. So we're going to wrap it up here. So yeah, great memories, Paulie, and I've got them from all the trips and, putting them together. So yeah, I'll need to do that. So people, I mean, on one trip, I've seen more of South Africa than most South Africans have ever seen in their lifetime. That's what's really cool about this. Any news in Giselle? In fact, she sent me an audio, which I haven't had a chance to listen to because I sent her a message earlier. So I'll just play a couple seconds of it because I don't know what it says. It might be something personal because I asked how she was doing earlier today. So let me just take a quick look here from Giselle. Here it is. It's about a 4-minute audio, so let's just play a few seconds.
Hey Chris, lekker to hear from you. I hope you are doing well. We're all good. I'm good. I do have...
All right, I think that's enough. I mean, the rest is personal. I need to listen to it before I share it. But Giselle says she's doing well. But I hadn't talked to her in a month or so. So, Yep. So anyway, that's where we're at on that. Folks, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button if you don't mind. We did manage to get over 100 people to watch this on this Shadow Band channel. Chris Wanapool, did you want to be I'm going to make you a span around here just the same. You can always tell me to take you off later on. Add as a moderator, as a standard moderator. So Chris Wanapool, you're now a moderator on this channel since you're one on my other channel too. Right. Okay. You can always tell me to take you off later on. Paulie says, Lecker show, love the Night Owls. Cool beans. Anyway, well, we've got tons more. We can even go back to the first trip, and we could show UK trips and things like that. So anyway, let's wrap it up here, folks. Take care of yourselves. Be good tonight. Tomorrow's Friday. RG Snyman is back playing for Munster. He's back in the lineup. And I'll be covering the Stormers Sharks game and the Lions Bulls game on Saturday. So looking forward to that. Well, R1, I get kind of busy. Remember, last year I came back. What was happening when I came back? Something. I was prepping for War College work and also for the election. And then I prepped for my next trip, and I was doing rugby. And then a lot of the stuff from the last trip I haven't put up because I came back. I was here for about 9 days, did the War College working all day long for that week, and then left to go to France and came back in October. And next thing you know, here we are. Yep. So, yeah, plus I thought I posted some of it. So, anyway, that's it. You guys take care. Have a lovely night. Cheers, and thank you for your patronage. God bless.